All right, let's get right to it. SPY, we see we had a down day. Was down 15 points on the day, and right now, I mean, it's just, again, people want to call a top. Again, I wouldn't do that. Again, we already said that we need to see it break some significant support before we start going down that path. And also, we said that if we were looking on the weekly time frame, we would want to see it break below at least, not just one, but basically two of these lower highs. I mean, or these high, these higher lows going in. So you see it broke one, it came close to the second one. Now it's not even close to any. I mean, it would want to get back over to this side, see if it could break below there, or at least break this high and start churning before we start saying that we're looking at something. But again, you can see that we have low volume going into this. So let me change this arrow. We can see we have low volume going into this, so that's something to be cautious of. And again, it was always to say that you want to start pulling some profits and stuff like that. If anything, you don't want to get too aggressively long at this time. If you're initiating a long, you want to be very, very smart with it versus chasing and go from there, because again, the volume was dying on the way up, which doesn't mean that it stops, but it's just cautionary to say that there might be a retracement and you could just lock in some profits now while it's going into strength versus just getting stopped out. You will get another opportunity to trade, and that's another lesson that you got to learn, is that you will get another opportunity to get in a trade. You just you don't have to feel like, all right, if I miss this one, then the trade is over, or I could never find another trade from whatever time frame. So again, you have the QQQ gave a little bit of a pullback. Again, you can see that the volume on the weekly time frame is declining. Again, it would at least have to break this level here before we start getting really concerned about it being a top per se. We just are saying that there's a retracement due. We know that this if we look at this bar count, we can see that we have was it 8 weeks pretty much up. So again, it's due for a pullback, and again, it's not a saying that you want to get short anything, but you want to keep that stuff in mind when you're looking at your price action, and just go from there. So again, you have the IWM is still bucking up against some resistance that we have around this area. You could say, okay, if it breaks below this low, we have another lower high in place, and that would be using this to say, okay, we have this high, then we have a lower high coming here as well. Looking at the volume, the volume is pretty much sideways, but again, if you look at the weekly time frame, you can see that you just have some sideways consolidation. So if you're aggressive, you would short, but again, this could pop up. I mean, you're going into this action, you're coming up against resistance. Some people might say this is double top, not sure, but again, I would look at more coming down, coming back up, and then going back down. But you can see that this price action is still fighting these previous levels. So this would be something that might be considered like a head and shoulder pattern. I'm just looking at this, and you're still bucked up against this previous high around this November, the beginning of November, and it's fighting up against it. So we'll see what happens from there. But again, you don't want to guess the top, because it's just not a thing to do. Again, look for the price action. That's the hard trade to do. Okay, and why trading is hard enough, why look for that? But again, if it has some continuation to the downside, you could definitely see it break up these levels. And if it breaks those levels, I mean, you could start looking at I mean, what target can we look at? We could look at I mean, you can see it getting back to these previous levels. I'll show you right now. Just trying to look at some other stuff. You could definitely see it coming back to this level. Okay. Some names that we said we didn't want to chase, starting to give a little bit back. Apple. This would have been an aggressive short, but it would have paid. Again, you want to be really scaling quickly or going break even. Rolling your stop to break even quickly, because again, you're fighting against the trend. And the trend is up for this. It's been up for a while. So you want to make sure that if you're doing something like that, either you're willing to wait, or if you get in, you want to just go break even, grab some profit. And if it continues down, you see the volume has increased to the upside. you just take it from there. But no need to be super aggressive going short for stuff. But there was some stuff that ended up breaking down. Again, Netflix closed down for the day. Again, I was telling you guys, the trend is down. I mean, it doesn't have to be, you know, trade with the trend. Sometimes you'll have it that it'll end up saving you if you're trading with it. If you have a sloppy trade, the trend will bail you out. So you see that it started to grind in and it broke down here on the weekly. Again, daily had that gap, but why? I mean, again, if you're just playing this move up, congratulations. But if you're looking to hold for this, you know, you waited a long time, and if you got in here, you're down. The trend is down currently, at least for the short term. So you can also see from here, I mean, again, it ground up. You didn't get the separation that we like to see. You see this separation? Let me see if I can give it some. You see how it came laid above? You have this as well. Let me look at this one. You have it coming here. You have it coming, then it gave some spacing. You have this one. Maybe you got a little nervous, or you lay it above. Again, you might not take this. It might be an earnings thing. You got this as well. Keep going higher. Now it starts to break and give you some funkiness. Okay, so then you see what's going on. Again, you could continue to do that, and I mainly like to use the lows. But again, if I'm looking for a dip to buy and it's above, you know, or layering into a prior high, that works for me. Okay, you have other names that we're starting to break down as well. You have Tesla. That one is giving, again, on the weekly time frame, it's actually giving some bearish signals as well. And I think that you might get some type of, you know, bounce for people looking at this support level. But again, the chart is bearish. Don't fight it. Again, you look at the weekly, you can see that it gave a lower high, continuing down, and then you just don't fight it. Just don't fight this. Okay, don't try to guess if it's exactly going to come to this point. That's going to make things painful for yourself. So again, another name that came, pull back a little bit, but again, you know, these are names that you just got to look at. Is Baba. Baba is continuing to grind down. Again, it's still, you know, I wouldn't be terribly bearish on it, but again, it still has some stuff that you need to look at. So again, names that were down today: Amazon, GoPro, of course, oil names, you know, Exxon, Chevron, you know, Cat was down. But again, we'll see what the follow-through looks like tomorrow. Again, I don't want to keep this video too high, but again, the indexes are showing you that things are tired. You don't want to, again, if you're going to go long, maybe you take half position or something like that. Just be careful. Take care.